I've been doing push-ups. I've been doing sit-ups. I've been doing chin-ups. I've been doing pull-ups. I threw up once, but I'm okay now.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Ysn Power Hour. It is Monday, the 25th of April, 2022. DJ Yoakley with you, and just excited that you're along for the ride here today. A big week here on Ysn. It looks like, fingers crossed, that we are going to have some baseball, some softball, some track meets that are all going to come through. The tennis matches as well. It looks like, as of now on Storm Tracker 21, that we will get some games in. There is a little bit of a scare here tonight. Teams are keeping a close eye on the radar as the soil is a little bit damp right now. So teams are kind of on that 50-50 mark. And if there's much more, again, it's going to put us in a big hole for getting these games in to finish out the year. But as we usually do, you'll see the tournaments happen, and then you'll see the makeup games happen after some of these teams are eliminated. If the teams go to state championships, well, I don't know how to put this politely, but those conference titles don't really matter at that point because the state championships weigh a little bit more heavily at that juncture than a conference or a league title. So it'll all fall as it will. There's no sky is falling situation here, Chicken Littles. Just keep your eye on the ysnlive.com/live. We'll keep you up to date on what's happening, what isn't, what cancels, and what is postponed all along the way. We got a great show for you today, but as we do each and every day, it is time to take a look at what happened on this day in sports history. Hit it! On this day in sports history, 1980, A's manager Billy Martin was restrained by umpires from attacking a fan. And everybody knows that Billy Martin constantly had run-ins across the board with fans, with players, with umpires, with seemingly everybody. It was never Billy Martin. It was always somebody else. But it brings me to kind of where we are this weekend. As everybody knows, or unless you've been living under a rock for the last 72 hours or so, you saw what happened in the Bronx. You saw what happened in New York. And my issue is less about the Yankees fans and more about fans in general. This is happening more. I mean, as we said, on this day in sports history, it happened in 1980. 1980, that's 42 years ago, right? But we're going to pretend like this is some kind of new problem that has come to fruition. I think my favorite, and again, I'm not trying to dog Cleveland fans here, my favorite part of watching that, it's a bad scenario, so I don't want to act like it's a good thing, but I think Cleveland fans seemingly have this shame on you whenever it's happening to them, and a victim mentality. This has happened in Cleveland twice. This scenario, this very, very exact scenario has happened in Cleveland twice. One in my lifetime and one I'm not so sure. I can't remember the day it happened. It was 10-cent beer night, I think, at Cleveland Municipal, if I'm not mistaken, and things got a little bit rowdy. Batteries were being thrown, things of that nature, trash, garbage. And then there was, of course, the Cleveland Browns when they played I believe the Jacksonville Jaguars, if I'm not mistaken. And I want to say it was 99 or 2000. just beer bottles raining down from the heavens in Cleveland. Officials, players running for their lives. And yes, even though they had helmets and pads on and stuff like that, you imagine the velocity coming down from the upper deck with a beer bottle. It's not a good look for fans. It's not, but it's also not a good look for fans to say, "Oh, how dare you," and wag that finger like Dikembe Mutombo and say, "Shame on you." But it's happened in Cleveland. Well, you guys need banned. They should have to forfeit that game. What? The players didn't do anything. That was the fans. And if you're going to start that, you're opening up Pandora's box. I'm going to go wear a Yankee hat or an Indian hat. Guardians hat inside Yankee Stadium. And I'm going to do the same thing to not me personally, but that's the idea, right? Outside the box thinking says that you're going to figure out a way to kind of over exert yourself here and figure out a way so you can configure in the outcome. That's what we want to do as fans, is configure in the outcome of a game. Hopefully it's by cheering very loudly, not really out of, how do I put this? Not being a jerk. But yeah, were the Yankee fans wrong? Absolutely. You never throw things at a person. Not just a player, a person. Well, why would you throw trash at somebody? Like, it's just a scumbag move. It is. But I'm not here to sit there and say, I'll be honest, I've never thrown trash at anybody that I can recall. That's never crossed my mind, is I don't like that person enough that I'm going to take this empty beer bottle or this empty cup or whatever else I could find. I'm not going to throw that at a person. I'm sorry. Like, call me crazy. I've never had that much animosity towards a player, person, or anything. Maybe a mascot. Not mascot crazy. I'm not going to lie to you. I remember AJ Burnett threw a baseball through a truck one time in warm-up pitches. I thought that was a little funny. I thought that I giggled a little bit. I'm not going to lie. It's just my personality coming out. I get humor sometimes. I'm the kind of guy that if you fall down steps, I care about your well-being, but I laugh. I laugh when I fall down steps. I laugh I grew up in Bob Saget's America's Funniest Home Videos. I laugh at other people's pain. I do not laugh necessarily when other people are acting like jackalopes in the stands. And I certainly don't sit there and give myself a trophy or try to give myself an out and say, shame on these people. And put on my cape and crown. Especially when the same city that is being quote unquote victimized this time has done it in the past. I'm sure that I don't know the outcome of what happened in Cleveland for those two times. I'm guessing a ban. And now with technology the way it is, you'll be able to pull those people out of a lineup, and those people should not, in my personal opinion, be able to return to Yankee Stadium. Or if you want to take it to the full extent, they should not be able to partake in a Major League Baseball game of any kind in the 30 ballparks around the major leagues. Sorry about your luck. But I'm a ticket holder. Sorry about your luck. You don't want those kind of ticket holders in your stands anyway. You don't want those people. But I'm tired of the first narrative is I'm tired of Cleveland fans acting like they are the be all and end all of being the best fans and the most well-behaved fans, because we know that's not the case. And I'm not sitting here saying Pittsburgh's any better or Tampa or Boston, or I'm not saying that. I'm saying, please stop acting like it's never been done in your own city. When I recall it, like vividly, As a matter of fact, for my generation, the Cleveland Brown fan base is probably, when you look up jerks fan base in a dictionary, there it is. And I'm in my head right now, I'm rerunning the bottles raining down, watching referees and umpires running for cover, for shelter, endangered, like it's a war zone. And then this weekend, I saw it. We would never, Cleveland fan base would never do anything like that. And thankfully, there was someone a little bit older than me that came on and just showed the video, a link to YouTube. And there was no response after that. That is called being served up a nice plate of cold crow. Bada bam. We have a little bit of a abbreviated show for you today, being that I have to get out to the Bessemer, Pennsylvania to watch Mohawk take on Freedom. That game starts at 4:30. This show ends at typically 4:05-ish. So you do the math. Doesn't leave me a whole lot of time to get there and get set up. So we're going to cut this show a little bit short. But we are not going to do is cut out Shorty Cormel. My guy has been a staple for a very, very long time at South Range, 4 years. This young man has been part of the winning culture in whatever he has taken part in. You look at wrestling, you look at football, you look at baseball. Shorty Cormel has been constantly the straw that's stirring the drink with all of those teams. He's always involved in some way, shape, or form. Got a chance to sit down with him this weekend. Excited to be able to bring that to you in just a couple minutes. But before we get to that, I want to look at and congratulate the big dogs of the Valley for week 1 of softball and baseball, and also clear up something real quick. Why are we starting late with baseball and softball? Well, the issue is we only have so many weeks, right, to be able to do it. And sometimes these are elongated. We think that we'll be able to go 10 weeks still with baseball and softball, but obviously with some of the cancellations, it's made things really challenging, as it has with the power rankings that will come out tonight for week 4. It's made things really challenging to go numbers versus numbers, because if we went numbers versus numbers for the first 3 weeks, you'd have a lot of Fitch, you'd have a lot of South Range, because just the way they've been able to play games, and some of these teams that play games, some of them haven't. Cheney was on Running Point earlier today. They played 3 games. It's hard to generate players of the week and guys and gals to keep your eye on whenever they're not playing games. So while Baird Brothers, who sponsors this, have been very, very supportive of this, we've been so apologetic to, okay, we want to get on a regular basis. It's a lot easier in football season, in the fall even. But even with track meets have been hard to come by. We're going to get track started in 2 weeks from today. We'll have the first ever Baird Brothers Big Dogs of the Valley for track and field, because pardon me, it's challenging. Again, it's very challenging because some of these meets are getting canceled. And it's more along the lines, I believe, of thunder and lightning. And it's just been a challenge, but we're overcoming, right? For every problem, we provide a solution, and that's how we do it. So for those asking, why are we getting started so late? That's one of the reasons. Another reason is, we don't want 12 weeks of this. We want 10 at max. Ideally, we'd like 8, but we look at football and we say, okay, if there's 10 weeks of football, there should be 10 weeks of basketball, 10 weeks of baseball and softball. So that's another reason. And I'm not trying to make excuses. I'm just trying to let you in on a little bit of a backdoor of kind of seeing what's going on behind the scenes. Congratulations, nonetheless. All of that kind of spinning into a congratulatory for United's Tori Firth, who is the first big dog winner this season for softball. Got a chance to see Tori and her team on Saturday in a double dip, which is why there's so much color on this shiny head. You can see a little bit better now. I don't look like a ghost necessarily. It'll come back. Don't worry. But unlike my hair, I will say this. Tori was so impressive. A no-hitter in the first game against East Palestine. And I'm thinking she managed might just be 4 innings of no-hitter softball in the second game of a doubleheader. Chris Sigler and I were talking about it. I've never seen back-to-back no-hitters or perfect games or anything like that in a double dip. Never seen it. Now, most of the time, there's a different pitcher. And again, our thoughts and prayers with the young lady from United who got injured on Friday night. Tough to do. I mean, when you're not playing games and then you play one and you get hurt, it's tough. But I was so impressed with Tori Firth, her interview after the game, that she dedicated both of those performances to her teammate who was injured, and her name escapes me right now, so you'll have to forgive me. But the reality is, I want to say it was McKenna. Something. It's not there, and I don't want to make her feel bad, and I would never do that. But I was so impressed with Tori Firth and her interview, and stopping everything before she could even talk about herself or her teammates. She talked about her injured friend and injured teammate, and that was so impressive to me. That's such a mature move in that situation. You just win 2 games by, first game was 11-0, second game was 12-2, so you're winning by double digits both times. And the first thing that you say to a reporter is, these were dedicated to our teammate. Very cool stuff. And obviously that left an impression. She wins with 30,000 votes. I mean, there was 44,000 votes, just over 44,000 votes for the softball. And for Tori to get 30,000 of those votes tells you a lot about her, tells you a lot about the United community, something that we've talked about for a long time. She's one, and they are one that continually support their athletes unbelievably well. Because they are a small town atmosphere, because they do show up in droves, because they want to, they get it. They understand that when your name's up in lights look at Tori Firth, look at who she was up against in this big dog competition. That was some unbelievable competition. And as was the baseball, and we'll talk about it in a moment. But congratulations to Tori, big dog winner, week 1. Setting the tone, and she now qualifies for the big dog of the year. So congratulations to her. On the other side of things, Riley McElwain from Columbiana. So the EOAC cleaning up in week 1. 2 teams that are trying their best to represent their conference at a very high level. You got the Columbiana Clippers, who are still undefeated, just getting over prom. So they did not play Friday or Saturday. They'll be back in action tonight, so that'll be interesting to watch and see if they can knock the rust off a little bit and get back to game action. But again, like we talked about with the rain, nothing they haven't done before or already this season. Riley McElwain is your winner for Big Dogs of the Valley week 1 in baseball. Riley just continues. He's already got a no-hitter under his belt this year. Dude can swing it. He's Mr. Do It All. So congratulations to Riley McElwain, and that he really is one of the heads on the monster for Coach Wolf's Clippers. Just amazing to see how Columbiana always finds their way into these top 10s, especially in baseball. Columbiana has just a tradition of winning and excellence on the diamond, and McElwain is another young man who continues to carry the stick for that program. And there's so many Clippers right now that you can talk about, and I can't wait to talk to about it. But Riley McElwain, certainly one of the flag bearers for the Clippers, and over 15,000 votes. Obviously, he's a flag bearer for the banner for YSN as well. And congratulations to him for being week 1's big dog of the Valley. All right, without further ado, it's time to turn our attention to Shorty Cormel, Logan. In case you didn't know, his nickname Shorty that he's had for such a long time, and goes by, we just call him Mr. Winner, because that seemingly is all that young man ever does. So without further ado, we're going to get to Shorty Cormel's interview right here on YSN Power Hour. Hi, everybody. DJ Yoakley with you for another player profile. Easy for me to say. Player profile here on YSN, brought to you by Joe Dickey Electric. It is a South Range version of the player profile, and we are joined by one of my favorite young dudes in the school, Logan Cormel, who if you don't know LC or Shorty or whatever you want to call him, whatever you call him, you're going to have to call him an Otterbein graduate in the next 4 years, because my guy makes a huge announcement this week to go and wrestle at the collegiate level for Otterbein. Logan, first and foremost, congratulations on the announcement and a phenomenal 4 years as a South Range Raider.
Thank you.
So let's get right down to it. Everybody's recruiting story is a little bit different. What was your recruiting story like? Because I know you and I have never talked about this, but you probably have the ability, unlike most, to play anything you wanted at the next level. You're a good baseball player, a good wrestler, and a good football player. What was it about Otterbein and selecting wrestling that really interested you about going and playing at the next level?
I mean, if I have to, out of all the sports that I play, honestly, wrestling is probably my favorite. And the reason why I chose Otterbein was just because it just felt like home. And like I said before, I have family that lived down there, and it was a really small school, and I like that aspect. And it just, like I said, it felt like home.
I think one of the coolest things is you didn't have to necessarily. Otterbein had to kind of choose you as well, because and they had to kind of woo you off your feet, because you had several different colleges that were trying to kind of hook themselves into you. What was that process like of eliminating places that weren't the right fit for you at this time?
The elimination was like when you step on campus, you always want to make it feel like home. And just like, you got to see like if there's any other things to do in that area and stuff like that, just to hang out with your friends. And honestly, I've been getting like these offers or colleges looking at me all year. And I mean, I just wrote it out as long as I could to see if I could get anything. And I mean, just Otterbein kind of wowed me, you know what I mean? And like I said, it just felt like home, and like I felt comfortable stepping on campus.
Conversations with the coaches, obviously that's a big part of the recruitment process, is, and like you're saying, feel like home. You have a great set of coaches in every sport that you participate in, from a standpoint of being at South Range. What were the conversations like, in talking about what it's like to wrestle at the next level in college, and what did Otterbein say, or what kind of conversations did transpire, I guess, to kind of make you feel like, hey, this is a place that I can call home for the next 4 to 5 years?
When I first went there on my first visit, he reminded me of my coach Dave Markulin, and like how much he does like scouting and stuff like that. Because just for the simple fact, when I was there, he was like, you'd be a perfect wrestler here because we teach everything that you do. I've been watching your film. I've been picking out what you do, and I just like how you wrestle because you wrestle like a college wrestler would wrestle here. And I mean, I just took that to consideration, that he like wants me to go there because he's doing all the extra steps, you know what I mean, to get there. And we just, when we talked for the first time, we kind of just clicked right away. And I mean, it was just an amazing experience when I visited the college campus.
All right, man. We haven't really talked on the record since you won your state championship. Talk to me about what it was like for you to kind of, it had to be a whirlwind, that whole kind of week and month leading up to the state championship, you guys winning it, sealing the deal, and being able to, once again, for the first time in 4 years or so and change, South Range becomes a state championship, and you are a huge part of raising that trophy.
It was filled with a lot of emotion, and like, if I'm gonna be honest, like I kind of like that whole week of state duels and stuff like that, I kind of like tried to block out all the like, not block it out, but just stay focused on the state championship. And another good sign about Otterbein is he understood that, and he like kind of like respected that about it, and he told me like to focus up and go win a state title.
And you did just that. You are now forever going to be known as Logan Cormell, South Range state champion in wrestling. All right. So with that said, obviously, given your gear that you're geared up right after a baseball game is when this is being taped, you guys have a job to do. It's from South Range baseball standpoint, and that's go and chase a championship. A
Mhm.
lot of people think that this might be the most talented team since that 2018 team. Is there things, or are there things that you can take from the state championship in wrestling and build on to make a run here in the postseason for baseball?
Um, well, like in wrestling, it was like family. That's what we preach, like family and staying together. And that's basically what you can build off of. So, like if somebody strikes out or they hit a pop fly and they're the last out, you go out there and you pick them up and you give them all the confidence in the world that they need to not feel down about what they just did and just take each inning by that inning and try to win every inning.
I think one of the coolest things about you, Logan, is the fact that you are so selfless. You could care less about what happens or who ends up winning the game or winning the match as long as your team wins the match or the game. I love that you were always the first guy out there to congratulate your teammates in wrestling. You're always a team guy in baseball. Where did you learn that? Is that a process? Is that something that you picked up from your family, from friends, just from over time? Where did that come from, and why is that so important to you?
Um, I mean, I kind of picked that up through my family because I just remember my mom and dad telling me just treat everybody how you want to be treated. So like if you're down or something and like you want somebody to like pick you up and like make you feel like you're doing everything right. I mean, I'll treat somebody like that and they, you know what I mean, they'll treat me like that in return.
All right, cool story for you. I haven't told you this. I was waiting for the right time, and no time is better than now. So after the football banquet, your dad and I were chatting it up, and he said, as fun as this football season was, wait till wrestling. He said it's my favorite time of year. I love wrestling because it's just different. There's a different intensity. There's a different commitment than football and baseball. Fast forward about 4 months, you're a state champion in wrestling. That was the most exciting wrestling season I've ever taken part in. What was it like to share that experience with mom and dad?
Um, it it's priceless. You know what I'm saying? It's just like we've worked like me and my parents or me. I've been working my whole life for this, and like to be surrounded by that group of guys, and like I just want to thank my parents for always pushing me and like giving me that confidence to keep wrestling every year, and just give honestly just giving me confidence and make me believe in myself and just pushing me to be a better person every day.
If you had to take one characteristic that you have now that your parents passed along to you, what would it be? And what's that favorite characteristic and why?
Um, I would just have to say just like being kind of like sort of a confident because and being confident, like being part of something, teamwork, like that kind of stuff. Just so like when you surround yourself with those kind of guys, you have the confidence, you have the teamwork, and it just builds up from there.
I think that one of the things I really enjoy about you most is the fact that you have so much school spirit. Now, we know your girlfriend plays for the softball team, but you can be found at almost every South Range activity. What is it about South Range you love so much? It makes you want to get out there and root for seemingly everybody in burgundy and gold.
Um, Mostly it's just the atmosphere, you know what I mean? Just like the parents are so supportive of every sport and they have a good time and I have a good time watching all the sports.
All right, I have to ask the question because I don't see it. Did you cut the mullet? Did you
Uh
shave it up or what?
yeah, I did. I
Look
cut it.
at you. You look like a normal teenager now. What made you grow it? And then on top of that, what made you cut it? Was it all right? Was it the girlfriend? Was it the
No,
parents? Was it peer pressure? What was it?
none of those. So my Julie actually liked it and she told me she doesn't care what I have my hair like and stuff like that. And my parents, they told me they didn't care, but I kind of made the decision to cut it before prom, so I looked more like, you know what I mean?
So you look. I don't want to say that because a mullet is still respectable,
Yeah.
But what people don't realize, in 20 years, you're going to have to look back on these pictures like I do right now and realize, oh my gosh, what was I doing? Who talked me into this? So well played, LC. Well played, taking it in your own hands and cutting it up. Lose the cap. Let's see it. Show it off. Show off the mane.
It's a little shorter
Oh,
than
look at
usual,
that.
but I would have liked it a little bit longer, but it is what it is.
I like it, man. It's a good look for you, brother. It's a
Thank
good
you.
look for you. All right, so talking about these last couple months at South Range, what are some of the things you want to check off on the bucket list before you leave? To me, one of the best schools in the area.
A few things I'll just like to check off is another state championship in baseball. We can make a run this year. And honestly, just spending time with my friends and making all the memories count, and just making everything count and making memories.
All right, so a couple last questions before I let you go. I've had you for about 11 minutes now, 12 minutes or so. I know that it's like pulling teeth for you. You hate doing these things, but you do them because you love me, and I appreciate you. If you had to leave a legacy at South Range, just for you,
Mm-hmm.
so when people think of Logan Cormel, they think of what?
I would probably say wrestling. That's what I would, and just having those good teammates on the wrestling team.
I love that. All right, man. Last question for you. It's fun time. This is the question. This is my newest question. It is the I think one of the better ones, and it's a stumper because nobody's really come up with a good one yet. So the pressure's on for you to come up with a good one. You ready?
Yeah.
All right. They're writing a story in Hollywood about Logan Cormel, and you get to pick who plays you in the starring role. Who is it and why?
I would have to say I would say Ryan Reynolds, because of all the movies and stuff like that I've seen and watched. He's just like a comedian, and I kind of view myself as a comedian because if somebody's having a bad day or something like that and like they don't have a smile on their face, I'll try to put a smile on their face. Even if it makes me look stupid, I'll try to make that person smile.
All right. And a 1A question here. If Julie had to pick someone to play you, who would it be and why?
Oh, geez. I don't know.
Channing Tatum.
Yeah, there you go. Channing Tatum.
That's the guy. It's Ryan Reynolds or Channing Tatum. Not two bad dudes to have play you in a starring role, man. Logan, thank you so much for the time. It's been such an honor and a pleasure to cover you. We're so proud of you for taking your commitment to the next level. Can't wait to watch all the great things that you're going to do, whether it's on the mat or off the mat. We know it's going to be. By the way, what are you going to study?
Sports management.
My guy. So you'll be in sports no matter what. We're proud of you, man. If there's anything ever that we can do for you, please don't hesitate to ask. On behalf of all of us at YSN, thank you, Logan, and good luck in the future.
All right. Thank you, DJ.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Again, thanks to Logan Cormel for stopping by this weekend. And I know he's got a lot to do, and South Range continues to push up. So congratulations to that young man on all he does, all he continues to do, and all he will do at Otterbein. It's never easy getting to that next level. And my guy took his time, made sure that it was the right fit, the right feeling, feels like home to him. And he will be at Otterbein next year wrestling, and hopefully he'll be doing it for a significant amount of time. And if he can make half the impact that he made at Otterbein the way that he did at South Range, my guy is going to be just fine. It's time for the Joe Dickey Electric What's Your Spark, presented by our friends over in North Lima on that campus, or you can visit them on the web at dickeyelectric.com. All right, so we've already talked about the fans in the stands. It seems like we're always talking about the weather. We're always talking about these crazy things. One thing I want to bring attention to, and it's a good thing. It's a really, really good thing. So it's a positive spark. Our friends over at K-Squared Marketing are doing something, and I'm not going to get all the details, right? So I'm going to live in the generalities for a little bit. But essentially, they're giving away scholarships for students in the different areas and school districts that they're in. I cannot speak highly enough about the girls at K Squared Marketing, because not because of what they do on the daily, but what they do when nobody's looking, what they're doing to change the conversation at the table for schools, for student athletes, for students in general, to help them ease the burden of student loans and things like college debt. And they're doing I want to say one for every school, but that could be wrong. So I don't want to say that and get busted for it. So I know they're doing scholarships, and I think they're $1,000. So I am super excited, and hopefully we can get involved in some way to help them. They're doing some great things over there. So Kelsey and Colin, if you don't already know them, go follow K Squared Marketing on social media platforms. Get to know them. Sign your kids up for a possibility of a scholarship if those schools are utilizing the business of K Squared. If they're not, maybe you should ask some questions, because the girls do a great job of really promoting the school.